What's going on, everybody? RJ Ochoa here from SB Nation's bloggingtheboys.com. Hope all is well wherever you are. We hope you're happy, safe, healthy, and that you are excited for some Dallas Cowboys preseason action. We are set to see the third preseason game of the year for the Dallas Cowboys. Most teams in the NFL getting ready for their second preseason game this coming week. The Cowboys will be playing their in-state rivals, the Houston Texans. I don't know how much stock you put into this rivalry. I don't know if you have a Texans fan, Fran. I think we all generally do. The little brother syndrome. It's a preseason game, so ultimately whoever wins, it does not matter. But there are a lot of things that we are going to be looking forward to, a lot of things that we definitely want to see from the Cowboys. And that's what we're here today to discuss here on our preview show. We do these every week leading up to every Dallas Cowboys game. We have a discussion, things we want to see, things that are important. During the regular season, we'll talk to people who cover the teams the Dallas Cowboys are going to play and get an insight in terms of what the Cowboys need to look out for in their upcoming game. But this week, because it is the preseason, like we've been doing for the last couple of weeks, we have some BTBers set to join us to kind of talk about America's team and what we want to see throughout the contest on the Dallas side of the ball. Now, first thing I'm going to be looking forward to myself is Malik Hooker. Malik Hooker has caused or generated a lot of excitement since joining the Dallas Cowboys a couple of weeks ago, and I think he does raise the floor at the safety position, and I really want to see that on display. You know, we've seen 2 turnovers primarily for the Cowboys so far through this preseason, and both have come at the level of the linebackers. We saw Micah Parsons fall on a fumble against the Pittsburgh Steelers in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. We saw him help Keanu Neal ultimately strip a ball and put it on the ground against the Arizona Cardinals. I want to see some of these defensive backs move around and get some interceptions on their own. I want to see that happen at the safety spot. We've seen a lot of things to be encouraged by a corner. Nashawn Wright has looked solid. Kelvin Joseph has had some moments, but I really want to see this safety group really pop, and Malik Hooker kind of leads that for me because he does have all of the hype and all of the excitement. I don't want to go as far as saying that there's a lot of expectation on Malik Hooker this season with the Dallas Cowboys, but he is a bit of a lottery ticket. He's obviously a player who was incredible in college and obviously into the NFL with a lot of hype and a lot of pomp and circumstance. And so it would be nice if he could realize that potential with the Cowboys this season. And that starts somewhere. And I really want to see it start happening in true total actuality on Saturday night against the Houston Texans. Now, we mentioned the linebackers for the Dallas Cowboys. The second thing that I'm going to be paying attention to is those linebackers. We've seen Micah Parsons be involved in 2 turnovers that the Cowboys have generated so far this preseason period. Can they do it again? And look, the first one against the Steelers, like we said, it counts, but it doesn't really count. In fact, entering that game, one of the things I wanted to see was a real turnover that the Cowboys generated, not a tipped pass or something like that. You can say tipped passes count a little bit, but last week was a great example of that. And it was a lot. It was a really great moment for Keanu Neal. And I think that that's something that we really wanted to see. I think we all believe in Micah Parsons. We all believe in Keanu Neal. We feel like the Cowboys have made some wise decisions at the linebacker level to help turn around the play of the middle of the defense. I want to see that again. I mean, I know that's asking for a lot. I know that's selfish. I know that that might be biting off more than we can chew. I think we've, again, seen enough to this point to feel justified and feel conviction in our belief that these linebackers are going to be solid in 2021. But do it again. I mean, I feel like, we're already cruising at, warp speed when it comes to the linebacker play of the Dallas Cowboys. But if they could do it again, I really feel like people would start to lose their minds. And look, if you power rank, position groups on the Cowboys in terms of what's the deepest or what's the best, wide receivers up there. And linebacker has a lot of names. And I know that people are lower on Jalen Smith and Leighton Vander Esch, but if they can start to contribute, if we can see them force some turnovers, I think that would really go a long way. Obviously, I'll take a Micah or a Keanu Neal turnover one way or another. But I have one final fact that I'm going to be paying close attention to myself. And this one's a little bit weird because his spot on the team is not only secure, but it is fairly secure. It's really cemented. And that's Garrick Gilbert. Garrick Gilbert is clearly QB2 for the Dallas Cowboys. Whether you feel good about that or not is not the point. We're talking about whether it's true, whether it's actual, whether it's going to be. There's no question that Garrick Gilbert is the backup quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys entering the 2021 season. We talked a lot in the lead up to camp and the process of camp, how maybe the backup quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys this season would be somebody that is currently on another NFL team. And we'll see what roster cuts ultimately yield. So far, every team's only moved on from 5 players, and there were no real significant quarterbacks to pursue, although there are players like Blake Bortles out there on the market that maybe maybe you could argue would be better. Josh Rosen was part of the moves and roster adjustments that players or teams rather made this week. I'm not necessarily somebody who's advocating for going down that path, but what I want to see from Garrick Gilbert is a touchdown drive. The Cowboys have one touchdown this preseason, and it was led by Ben DiNucci. I think we agree that Garrick Gilbert is the best option, and if you're not agreeing with that, then you're not seeing the same things. Garrick Gilbert is the best non-Dak Prescott quarterback on the team. And I want to see the first team offense have some success. And not that it's necessary. I think that, the offense is going to be one of the better ones in the NFL no matter what, but it would be nice to feel that, to see Garrick Gilbert be capable of it, because if Dak Prescott has to miss any time during the regular season for whatever reason, it would be Garrick Gilbert who is ultimately going to be the guy that the reins would be handed to. Now, it remains to be totally seen whether or not some other players, some other starters on the Cowboys offense will play in this game, but still, Garrick Gilbert, go get it done. You'll have enough people around you that there won't really be any excuses. So Garrett, please, at AT&T Stadium, put the Cowboys on the board. Those are the three things that I will be paying attention to myself. Hopefully you agree with them. I'm curious to see what you think. If you have a comment, a question, a concern, please let us know in the comments below. Please subscribe here to the Blogging the Boys YouTube channel. But I'm also curious to see what one of our fellow BTBers thinks. Tony Catalina does a great job writing for us at bloggingtheboys.com. He joins us next to discuss things we want to see, things we hope to see, and things we might see on Saturday night against the Houston Texans. Joined now by the one, the only, the incomparable, the supremely handsome. You know him from bloggingtheboys.com, on Twitter at Tony_Catalina. That kind of gives it away. It is Tony Catalina. TC, what up?
How you doing, RJ?
I'm doing very well. Great to be with you. Great to have you here, Tony. The Dallas Cowboys hosting the Houston Texans on Saturday, the second preseason game as far as the NFL is concerned, but the third preseason game for the Dallas Cowboys. At the time of this recording, it seems like Dak Prescott's not going to play. Zeke Elliott, Zach Martin, all the Cowboys' top players. It doesn't really seem like the Cowboys are going to have a dress rehearsal as far as normal seasons are concerned. What's your panic level? Are you panicked? Are you one of these people who's concerned about Dak Prescott and potentially not playing at all in the preseason?
To me, I'm a little, I'm not concerned, but they keep moving the goalpost a little bit, and, it's a couple days, a couple weeks. The third preseason game is the benchmark. That's where we're trying to get him in. And now it's as long as he's ready for week one. And I guess ultimately that is what's the most important, right? Let's have him ready for week one. And he seems to be ramping it up a little bit, but I can't lie and say I'm not just a tad bit nervous about them keep pushing it out.
Yeah, I'm with you. It kind of, to me, feels like when you're playing around at golf and you're like, well, I'll just take one mulligan. You know what I mean? It's like, well, I didn't take one last round. It's like, well, this putt didn't really count. Like, this was good. You know what I mean? Like, you start all of a sudden you've shaved like 7 strokes off your score, and it isn't really earnest. But so with that being said, because it is what it is. I mean, we could be upset, we could be frightened, we can be panicked all we want. What do you want to see? Because last preseason game, the Cowboys were a little bit more efficient offensively. They finally scored. We saw the defense step up. We certainly saw that highlighted on Hard Knocks. But what are you looking for? Generally speaking, I mean, what does Tony want to see on Saturday?
I saw Cooper saying that he'd like to get some snaps. I'd like to see Cooper get some balls, a couple of routes out there and, kind of just get his feet wet a little bit and just get out there and, be involved a little bit. So I know it's not going to be the full cast of characters out there, and I'm okay with that. Let's get out there. Let's try to get out and get out of the game healthy. The fourth game will be for the people fighting for roster spots and stuff like that. But, I want to see these young corners like Kelvin Joseph, progress. I know he has had up and downs in the preseason game. I want to see what Nashawn Wright can do. I'm really interested because I really feel the back end, the secondary is going to be key to this team and this team's success this year. So, I'm excited to see Malik Hooker get out there and have a, opportunity to play a little bit. So, there are some intriguing things to see, minus, the Dak Prescotts and those that aren't going to actually play this time.
That's a good selection on your behalf. Congratulations, Tony. Micah Parsons got the fumble recovery in the first game. Keanu Neal was the one who stripped it against Arizona, but Micah Parsons still involved playing team defense against the Cardinals. And I'm with you because it would be nice. We've seen, some of these corners have these great moments in camp. We've seen some interceptions. We saw Maurice Kennedy do it against Matthew Stafford, but we have yet to see that in the preseason. And that doesn't mean that, anybody should be concerned about that, but it would be nice. It would would be a boost to kind of feel like, okay, this is not just, starting to happen up front, because we have seen Dorrance Armstrong's playing really well, right? Like there's a surprise there. Obviously, Micah and Keanu, the new linebackers, are playing well. Okay, that feels justified. We haven't gotten that same oomph on the back end. Would you agree?
Totally agree. I'd like to see them, like you said, take the ball away. Let's get an interception. We don't need a pick six, but let's get our hands on some footballs here. And, I would like to see it be one of the younger cornerbacks, one of the kids that we're really going to lean on here. I know that, Anthony Brown, Jordan Lewis are there, the usual suspects, but I think the way this team could really progress is have one of these rookies really step up. And I think that would be a huge boost of confidence if they were able to do that.
So it does kind of feel like all the questions that we have, or all the things we want to see rather, on the defensive side of the ball. Is there anything on offense? You mentioned Amari Cooper. Actually, we'll start there. Do you need to see anything from Amari Cooper? Because you did mention that you would like to, but kind of in a similar boat to Dak Prescott. In fact, we've seen even less of Amari than we've seen of Dak really this entire offseason, because he was on the PUP list and out before then, generally speaking. So do you need to see anything from Amari to feel calm, to feel ready for him to play week one?
I don't need to see it. I'd like to see it, like you said. I think Amari Cooper is a gamer. I mean, when the lights are on, he's going to find a way. I mean, he's played hurt. He's done it a lot in his career. He's getting back to healthy. He says he's close to 100%. So, the fan in me wants to see him go out there, catch some balls, and just kind of get that familiarity. But do I think he needs to do it? I don't. I think, Amari Cooper, when it comes to week one, he's going to be ready to go.
So then what do you need to see on offense? I have one, but I'll let you go first. You are the guest after all.
So I would say for me is I want to see the tackle play. You know what I mean? We need to figure out that swing tackle position. Is it Ty Nsekhe? Is Brandon Knight or Terrence Steele going to, take that job? Because it looks like nobody's really stepped up and grasped that job. And I know Ty Nsekhe got injured and he had a tough go in the first preseason game. So it just looks like we need somebody in case Tyron Smith or, La'el Collins had a little scare today. So my eyes are going to be focused on the edge there for the offense.
Yeah, I think that's a really great point. I don't want to be pessimistic, but I think it really is, unfortunately, at least history would suggest a matter of when, not if. You're going to need to lean on that position. Tyron Smith has not played a full season since 2015. Obviously missed a significant amount of time last year, but even then he's good generally to miss 3 games a year-ish, and so you do have to be prepared for that. My thing, Tony, is along the offensive line as well. However, it is in the middle. I need to see Connor Williams only play left guard. I've seen enough. I understand experimentation. I understand wanting to establish a potential backup if Tyler Biadasz goes down. Totally am down for, getting creative in different senses. We've seen enough. We know that this isn't a viable thing. It's not a sustainable thing. And I'm not saying, this coaching staff's incompetent if they play Connor Williams at center, but if they didn't, I would consider that a small victory of sorts, because it would be kind of an acknowledgement that they have moved on from that project.
I mean, 100%. Mike McCarthy came out and said, here's our starting 5, and it wasn't Connor at center, it was Connor at left guard. So I like that they'd come out in forefront and put that out there. And, they're looking to see if they can mix and match the interior and have center play, Connor play center if he can. But I think we realized that experiment not going the way they wanted to, and the backup center might not be on the roster, and we still got 2 games to figure out if he is. So either way, I think we both know it's not Connor.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, great job by Connor, great endeavor to attempt this. It's not an easy thing. But let's be honest with ourselves here, right? We don't have to waste anybody's time. So all that being said, we've established that we really want to see things on the offensive side of the ball. We want to see certain select things on the offensive side of the ball. What player specifically has to ball out? And Hard Knocks will do a great job of, profiling this, but, who is that guy for you that really has to show up, really has to flash in this game? I have one, but again, you can go first.
This might be, it's a little bit down the depth chart here, but I'm going to be looking at Simi Fehoko, right? I mean, Malik Turner is dealing with an injury. So I think there's a real opportunity for him here. And the 6th wide receiver isn't technically going to be viewed as a wide receiver. It's what can you do on special teams? And, he has the traits, he has the size, and he certainly has the speed to do it. But is he a willing tackler? And that's where a lot of these guys, at the bottom end of this draft are going to make this team. So my eyes are going to be mostly on what is John Fossil going to be able to use? Bones Fossil going to be able to take these guys and shore up a special teams unit that we're still looking for a kicker in the preseason right now. So for me, I'm going to be looking at Fajoku. Does he take a step? There is an opportunity for him, so I'll be checking for him.
Great pick by you. It's better than mine. Mine is Anthony Brown, and not that he's in jeopardy or anything like that. And I'm not one of I know there are people who think, the Cowboys should trade Anthony Brown, and I think it's a fair discussion to have, but don't do that. We've seen how injuries can ravage a team. You don't want to give away or trade away depth for whatever you're going to be getting. For Anthony Brown, it's not going to be worth it. But I think with Anthony Brown, he's an example of priors being confirmed. If Anthony Brown doesn't play well, then the priors, granted, relatively new priors, are going to be confirmed in that, Maurice Kennedy's better. Anthony Brown's going to this could be the beginning of his dissension down the depth chart, and he'll still be on the team through the entirety of the season. Maybe he'll be leaned upon when the depth, needs to be, but this could really be an opportunity for him to kind of shift and adjust where he's going to be on this roster, on this depth chart specifically across the regular season.
I mean, I couldn't agree more. I think, the way the cornerback position is on this team and how young it is, I don't think you're going to get away with getting rid of cornerbacks with skins on the wall, right? Like, you need guys who have played in this league, people that have played, players that have started in this league. If he gets shimmed down the depth chart a little bit, then that means some young guys are stepping up. But I think you're going to, it is important for him. I mean, where's he value himself in this position? Is he a starter? Is he every day, is he getting a ton of reps? But like you said, I think he's going to be on this team. It's just like, at what point and what part is he going to, participate?
Tony Catalina, the man, the myth, the legend, on Twitter at Tony_Catalina. Thanks for joining the preview show here. Check out his work at bloggingtheboys.com. Tony, your last word before we leave.
I'm looking for, get healthy, stay healthy. Let's get out of this game clean.
That's well said. Thanks for joining us, Tony. Big thanks to Tony Catalina for taking the time to join us here on the Blog of the Boys preview show. It is going to be very interesting to see how certain things are handled in this game. Obviously, Dak not playing in all likelihood is a strong factor in terms of, things being different. And I think that, people have some thoughts on that. People are a little bit panicked about that, but it does seem like the Cowboys are just being overly cautious, and you can certainly make an argument whether or not, they've moved the goalposts a little bit, like Tony said. But ultimately, this game is going to be really important for some younger players on the offensive side of the ball, are harder to come by, like we talked about, but players on the defensive side of the ball. We talked about defensive backs a lot, but defensive linemen are really interesting with the Cowboys, and all of a sudden they're, I don't want to say rich at defensive line or along the defensive line, but the Cowboys now have some options that they really haven't had in some time. And a big reason for that is the emergence of somebody like Dorrance Armstrong. Dorrance is one of the three players that our film room guru, Matt Minich, profiled in this week's film room episode. Matt's going to give us three players to pay attention to when the Dallas Cowboys host the Houston Texans.
The worst thing about preseason football is the potential for injuries, and unfortunately, the Cowboys have taken a few hits in this area. The injury to defensive tackle Neville Gallimore creates an opportunity for Justin Hamilton to step up and take on a larger role on the Cowboys defense. On this play from last season, the guard tries to reach Hamilton, but he doesn't stand a chance. Hamilton makes the tackle at the line of scrimmage. Keep an eye on Hamilton against the Texans to see if he can step up and get the job done at defensive tackle if Gallimore misses a few games early in the season. Depth on the defensive line was an issue last season, and defensive end Dorrance Armstrong was certainly an asset to the team when injuries mounted. Last week, Armstrong had 5 tackles and 2 sacks against the Cardinals. On this third down play, Armstrong comes hard off the edge, setting up the inside move that got him to the quarterback and forced the field goal. Hopefully, he can keep it up against the Texans this week. The Cowboys are deep at the wide receiver position, and yet they selected Simi Fehoko in the 5th round of this year's draft. Why? Because he makes clutch catches like this one that he made on 4th and 3 against the Cardinals. When you run a slant over the middle, you know you're going to take a hit. Here, Fehoko makes a great catch and draws the flag. This was a huge play that kept the drive alive and led to the Cowboys taking the lead in the 4th quarter. Fehoko will be someone to watch against the Texans, not only on offense, but see if he gets any action on special teams. These are 3 Cowboys to keep an eye on this week against the Texans.
Big thanks to Matt for helping us out here on the Blogging the Boys preview show. This game against the Houston Texans is one of the only ones that's going to be a little bit more difficult for Dallas Cowboys fans to watch if they are not local. This game, unlike last week and unlike next week, is not on NFL Network. The Dallas Cowboys will play the Houston Texans on Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central Time. You can watch it locally on KTVT CBS 11. Bill Jones, Moose Johnston, and Babe Loffenberg on the call. As always, you can listen to this game on 105.3 The Fan, the home of the Dallas Cowboys. Hey, there's a lot of places to watch, after the fact, but you want to watch live, you want to enjoy. And if you are watching live or if you're not watching live, either way, come here to the Blogging the Boys YouTube channel, because after the game, we will have our official Blogging the Boys post-game show. It is that time, the time for predictions. Yeah, I know. Preseason predictions are a big deal around here. Everybody's hanging on every word when it comes to the preseason, and I'm trying to buck the trend because I have predicted the Dallas Cowboys to win each of their first 2 preseason games, and I have failed. All right, so I am going the opposite direction here. I have the Dallas Cowboys technically losing this game. Now, we all know that the scoreboard does not matter in the preseason, all right? The Dallas Cowboys could lose this game 100-0. But if we see the things that we need to see, if we learn what we want to learn, then it is a victory. That is what the preseason is all about, my friends. But I'll go ahead and say Texans win 20-16. They're not going to be a lot of points. It's the preseason after all. Granted, you do get some preseason games where some teams go off, but let's even say that we get a defensive score. Let's say that. In fact, I'll say that the Cowboys 16 points. Garrick Gilbert leads an opening drive on his first possession. Cowboys get a defensive score off of one of the turnovers we've been saying we want to see. And then let's just throw a safety in the mix. Let's just get weird. That about does it for our preview show here for the Dallas Cowboys Houston Texans preseason game. As mentioned, we will be here after the game for a live post-game show. We will podcast that for you as well if you have to listen on the go. Make sure you subscribe both here to the Blogging the Boys YouTube channel. We are growing at an exponential rate. Very excited to see what the season has in store for us. And make sure you subscribe to the Blogging the Boys podcast network. We are available on all major podcast platforms. We have a show that comes out every single day. I said the word day and it didn't happen. I don't know what happened there, but every single day, because we know that news is always happening in the world of America's team. I'm RJ Ochoa. You know me, of course, from Blogging the Boys, from here on the YouTube channel, from the podcast, etc. You can follow me on Twitter or Instagram at RJ Ochoa. You can also shoot me an email, rj.ochoa@sbnation.com, if that is more your speed. Thanks for joining us, everybody. We're rooting for fun, rooting for no injuries, rooting to see some positive things, rooting to learn a lot of things. So let's hope that happens. Thanks for joining us, everybody. We'll see you next time.